joined by none other than Green Bay Packers running back A.J. Dillon. AJ, how are you today, brother?
Dillon. I'm doing great. Thank you guys so much for the warm intro. I know it's been a lot of anticipation. I'm excited to get on here and chat it up with you guys every week.
Every week. I mean, that's what's amazing to me. Yes. It's like, you know, we get you once. It's amazing. We get to talk to you every week because that's how we roll, AJ. See, we figure, you know, season is almost halfway over. Best time to start talking to someone every week. You know, that first half of the season, get in your groove. Now you're here, and now we know kind of what this team is all about, and more importantly, what you're all about. You know,
absolutely. You can't go too early. Nothing set in stone yet.
No, absolutely, you got to get a good feel. Absolutely. AJ, first off, before we get into the team itself, I want to ask you, how are you doing, man? I mean, the Packers fan kind of sitting from the outside looking in. We saw you during training camp. You look amazing, ready for a big year. And then all of a sudden, there's AJ on the sideline in street clothes, and we're like, what the heck is going on? And then you're put on the shelf. How are you, man? Most importantly, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. You know, obviously, you know, had some time, like you said, not the first week. This is halfway through the season, so I've had some time now to come to terms with it. And football's a tough game. But, you know, we're doing all the recovery, everything, still working out. I'm literally at the facility right now. I got to tell them to put some extra stuff here on the shelf.
Yeah, we need some backdrop here. Man.
Yeah, we need some backdrop.
We are going on YouTube as well as the radio. So, you know, there's some visual components
back there. This is big time.
Big time.
Right? I need some Cheesehead TV stuff up there.
There you go. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking with gas.
How much better is it for you, though, AJ, being around the facility, being around the guys? Because that can be one of the toughest parts of going through the rehab process.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, and I think even sometimes I always come to the home games, and so you walk in the building, and everybody's locked in, dialed in, and you know it's just kind of one of those feelings where it's like, man, like what am I doing? But I've been just trying to find any ways to find a purpose, and you know, Emmanuel or guys like that have questions throughout the week. Hey, what do you see by this guy? What's kind of like the read by this linebacker? How does he blitz? What do you think we might get? And so just trying to stay up with the game plan, see them every day. And then out there on the game day, shoot, I got 3 pairs of gloves in case the guys need to, when it's raining, whatever it is, I'm running over there with the purple Gatorade, making sure we're good, making sure the running backs are ready to go. But yeah, you know, it's definitely tough, human nature. You want to be out there, you want to compete, but it's great to be still around the guys, and you know, it's all love, and we're still having fun.
That's awesome, man. I know I had talked to David Bakhtiari after he had his injury issue, and I know he talked a lot about the isolation of it, right? The fact that you are watching each and every week and you cannot contribute, and that's unbelievably tough. But I love that you're going to the games. Because look, man, everybody handles it differently, right? And I've seen guys throughout their careers where they do get injured and they don't want any part of it. You're in there. Like I've seen shots of you at the games. I've seen you like involved, as it were. How important is that to you? Because you do mention like talking to Emmanuel Wilson and things like that. How important is that to you to still kind of be part of it?
I think it's very important, and you know, it's kind of a 2-part. But you know, the first part, I guess, would be, you know, this is my 5th year here, and I know a lot of these guys, or a good portion of them, have been along here with me for the majority of that time, and I still support each and every one of them. I want the best for them. And shoot, I'm still on this team, and so when we have game day and it's at home, you know, I want to be there. I want to be there for whatever words of encouragement or high fives or whatever it is I can provide, or you know, sense of just kind of somebody just needs to vent a little bit on the sideline. They can't go to coaching and come to me and like, hey, I've been there before. I've had a bad play before. I've had a great play before. You know, that I do have that experience there, and so yeah, I think it's definitely important to be out there and do whatever I can to help out the team.
I also like that you're helping out the team. You know, when you bring Tucker on your podcast, when you fire up like, hey man, Kraft mac and cheese, what are we doing? How is Tucker Kraft not catching a box endorsement here? I like that you're shouting that part of it out as well. Let's try to throw some cash in the boys' pockets while they're rolling here with some wins.
Oh, of course, absolutely. That's what I'm all about. Everybody eats. We all eat. Shoot, I had Emmanuel Wilson. He said he wanted to come back on the podcast again. He was just on about a month ago. He said, hey, can I come on again? I'm like, sure.
Wait, because Billy and I are Packers nerds and we're steeped in this kind of stuff. Can you tell people what's the name of the podcast? Where can they find it? Like, let people know.
Absolutely. It's the Tune In to Dillon podcast. It's on everything. It will be on iHeartRadio soon.
There we go.
Yeah,
But
it
every
is.
other
There we
streaming
go.
platform and YouTube if you want to watch the podcast. And we have Packer players on. We've had Charlie Barons, comedians, some entrepreneurs, fun people. And we're just kind of on there having a good time, having a laugh. Probably pick up a couple nuggets and things to learn, and always a little Packer tea for sure.
Speaking of the podcast, you had a brewer on. You had
just gonna
your,
say,
your fellow rehab cohort,
Yes,
as it
the
were.
IR boys.
The IR boys, exactly. In that discussion, it came to light, sir, that you had not seen Bull Durham, which I think as a professional athlete, this is a travesty. And I just want to know, have you corrected that yet? Have you seen the movie?
Yes, the day I got back, well, the next day, I watched that movie, downloaded it on Apple TV, watched it. It's a fantastic movie, and one I will recommend for any baseball fan out there.
Oh, man. See, now, AJ, what you're doing is you're making my life a lot harder, because Aaron will come on here and say, dude, you got to know this movie. You got to see that movie. I haven't seen a lick of them. So, like, you right away landing. That's kind of tough, dude. You're making us look bad here. That you are prompt here, Aaron. You're gonna like doing the show with him way.
Well, and just Billy, you can't use your usual excuse like, "Oh, I'm a father of a young kid." So is AJ.
That's true. Yeah, right in the same
AJ,
spot.
He's a parent. He got on that movie right away.
That is true. Well, the thing is here that I feel like everybody's always going to give you a recommendation. You got to go ahead and do your due diligence. Watch that movie. If it's bad, that person can't. They're
off the list.
They can't recommend. Now you get to recommend, and they have to watch. You put the pressure back on him.
Right. That makes a world of sense. Now, AJ, as we've discussed, the fact that you've got some time on your hands, I think you have an event coming up to try and bolster a lot of different kind of spotlight some issues that are important to you with your foundation. What's going on? I think November 1st, is that a Friday at the Legacy Hotel Trademark Collection by Wyndham in Green Bay? What's going on?
Yeah. So like you mentioned there, we have our first annual gala for the Dillon Family Foundation. It's a foundation my wife and we started this off season. It's built around, our pillars are built around empowering families within the community and combating food insecurity. And so to put those two things together, food and families, we kind of did a little interesting spin on the gala. Everybody has a gala for the foundation, but we did a sip and savor. So we're going to have multiple stations with food where you can go ahead and, try to eat a little bit of here and a little bit there and grab a drink to pair it with it. We are still in Wisconsin. Drink Wisconsin. Carry the G beer, maybe. We might.
There we go. See, now we're talking. Look at the synergy. I love it.
I don't know if we're allowed to bring it on the premises, but I might have a couple outside if you want to grab one on your way in.
There you go. I absolutely love it.
Smart man. That's what I'm talking about.
For anyone interested in more information on this incredible event, we'll certainly have a link in the description of this video on YouTube, on Cheesehead TV's YouTube. We'll blast it out on our socials. We're definitely going to let people know. November 1st. It's Friday, November 1st. That's amazing, man. The fact that you can lean into that with some time on your hands, right? Like the idea that you can give back while you're on the shelf. I love that. I just love that. And I wanted to know, like, was that something that just happened organically, or was that something you sought out?
I think it was something we sought out. It's something that my wife and I had been wanting to do, start the foundation for a while. We've done, over the course of my time here, we've helped out the Boys and Girls Club, and we did the House of Hope Gala, which is a homeless shelter in Green Bay for single mothers and their children. We've done their gala for the last 2 years. And raised a bunch of money. We've worked with Feeding America over the last 3 years and raised over about 1 million meals during their Healthy Kids, Healthy Summer campaign. And so, and worked with the Children's Museum in Green Bay. All this stuff is natural. I love Green Bay. I think it's very apparent. Football, IR, or not, whatever it is.
Right.
Wisconsin is my home, just like everybody probably listening, and more. But so, I think the biggest thing you can do with your platform, however big or small it is help your neighbor and, help who's in your backyard. And then you focus there, and then you can slowly start to change the world. And so that's what we're doing. And we're trying to have a positive impact. And first year kicking it off. And we're super happy with all the support we've been getting. So DillonFamilyFoundation.org, you can find all the information, things we've done thus far.
Yeah, and sip and savor exp.givesmart.com is the link where you can go to give and also to potentially purchase some tickets for that. You mentioned it, AJ, as well, just kind of organically came to, right? You work with Feeding America, go through. But for families and young families, how much more impactful is that for you being a young father and seeing there's a lot of things in the last year and a half, man, that I've learned that I had no clue we were going to have to know. And to think about doing that on your own, it is really, really eye-opening to see the trials and tribulations people have in young parenting.
Absolutely. And I think, and this is the full God's honest truth, is the title of being a father for me is the best title I've ever had in my entire life. And, you know, there's nothing more, like, if you ask me, my goals is to like be the best dad I possibly can for my son. And, you know, hopefully down the line, a bunch of other future little Dillons running around.
There you go.
Now we're talking. Okay.
We're going to go from man to zone pretty soon. It's all over then.
I think it's just important to just, you know, I've been blessed to have a lot of resources to make that happen. And so, you know, the biggest thing I can do is try to provide resources for people who might not have those, who really want to do well for their families and for their children.
Yeah, and I had Nags. Now your girls have been around for a while, so you probably had this situation. AJ, I don't know if you have. Last night we crossed a threshold. Youngster slept in the big boy bed last night. Came downstairs. He was a little upset. 2:30 in the morning, and then thank you. I like that. You picking up right away. Didn't sleep very well because I know there's precious cargo right next to me. I'm a mover. I'm a leaner. I'm sitting here like, yeah, that's gonna be okay. I'm gonna get bounced to the couch here pretty quickly if that keeps up though, Nags. I think we got to set that precedent pretty early that can't be an every other night deal.
Man, I don't know. Like I've heard so many different kind of versions of like what you should or shouldn't do. All I know, and this is what I always say, and talking about any parent out there, like, you know your kid better than anybody. Like I don't prescribe to what anyone else says or suggests or whatever. So man, you know your boy. Like if he's cool, you're cool. That's all. That's literally it. Because
he was cool. Man, he was cool.
I'm sure he was. That's my
big
point.
Chilling.
You're not understanding. This is about me. It's not about him.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
He was living. He was living large, man. He had the 2 nooks. He was in. He was big
arms
chilling.
out.
Oh
yeah, always
big chilling. Big chilling on Dad's pillow. Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
I got to admit, I don't miss that, man. I like being able to get a full night's sleep. I went through that 3 times. That was enough, man. It's good times. I will say, AJ, since you're here, and we'll dive into some football topics quickly, but real quick before we pivot, because I think kind of like lambasted me into this. Corey Banke, my partner at Cheesehead TV, took issue, sir, with your beratement of the Wisconsin delicacy known as the Bloody Mary. And I know you put out there that you didn't like Bloody Marys, and then you had a bunch of backlash, and then you said, hey, look at me, I'm trying all these Bloody Marys. Corey is adamant that you come to his home and allow him to make you a Bloody Mary, because
that's something different.
He feels like he's going to change your mind.
Hey, I am open to trying new things. I want to find a great Bloody Mary. I'm living in Wisconsin. I want to like what everybody else likes. I want to. It just hasn't happened. I went down. We went to the Kohler Food and Wine Festival last weekend before the game, and I tried a couple Bloody Marys there. I went to Whistling Straits and had a Bloody.
Yeah, he's trying. Then Nags, he's trying.
Corey,
I will say, Banke is
he sent me the YouTube video. I saw it. I will definitely try it. We need to arrange that. I will definitely try it.
We'll get it on.
We can go live. I'll give my honest opinion.
Oh boy, we're playing with fire.
Yeah, the honest is a tough one. AJ, it's a good drink. It's not a great drink. It's one of those that you can only have about 1 to 2, because otherwise you are really playing with fire, especially for that noon boom. The rest of the game, you got tomato juice all in the stomach.
You know, with all the backlash, there was actually a lot of people in the comments like, "Hey, I'm born and raised in Wisconsin. Don't like him." I was like,
So you felt pretty good about it.
I did feel validated. I felt validated.
You should feel good. As the Wisconsinite that doesn't eat fish, there's going to be things that people don't like about it. You know what?
That's a cardinal sin there.
Yeah.
It is. Oh yeah, it's got to be kicked out of a couple of really holiday parties that family said, "Oh yeah, you're not going to be allowed to be at." But as an offensive lineman, you're going to eat just about anything, and that might be one of the stranger parts of it. You talk about those big boys up front, man. They are really working hard, and being able to see the commitment on the ground, and the holes that Emmanuel and Josh have been able to run through. They're really, really working up there, and they've been able to be in sync all out onto the field together.
I love it. I love it. I wore a hat in pregame. I wore a camo hat, said "Run the dang ball."
There you go.
I wore
There
it
you
in.
go.
You got everything starts there. Everything starts there. I might be a little biased, but when those guys start getting that push up front, great things happen. Josh is a heck of a running back, as you guys are seeing. Emmanuel is great. Brooks is great. He did a lot of stuff that kind of flew under the radar. He was in there.
That final drive.
I was getting
couldn't
asked after
believe
the
it.
game. They were like, "Oh, like why was 30 in the 2-minute drill?" He was in all game. He was
Yeah.
blocking on the edge all game.
Right.
So it was great to see. It's great to see when we get some success running the ball, and then we can really open up our offense there.
How tough is that in that situation where you watch that drive, the final drive, when you've been, I mean, it was hard going there on offense for most of the second half, right? And then you've got that gotta have it at the end of just trying to get into field goal range. I was dutifully impressed with the work Brooks did in pass pro. You've been in those situations, right? End of game, gotta have it. I mean, he steps in there and takes on a bunch of different rushers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not inconsiderable work that, like you said, doesn't get talked about a whole lot.
No, that is for a running back one of the hardest things to do. Probably the rest is kind of natural. You can always work on your game. You can work on your running. You work on your catching. But the blocking is it's a whole nother skill set. And a lot of times coming from college, you're not really asked to do it on most teams. When I was coming out, when I was at BC, I don't think I ever picked up a pass pro. It was always, our job was just to cut. We just cut at my team. That's what the running backs were taught.
Right.
And so I remember getting here and we're doing pass pro one-on-ones. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I've never even worked this technique before.
Right.
But obviously you grow and you learn. But yeah, no, that he did an amazing job. And then obviously Jordan was able to throw, and that's that 2-minute drill. And you've been to practices, that's something we work every single day. And so it was great to see Jordan just kind of lock in and, hey, we got to go get this. We're going to go make it happen. And obviously we ended up with the big win celebration.
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable.
Those Lambeau wins at noon really hit different.
The whole day stretches out in front of you afterwards.
Yeah, I'm finishing up Packers OT and I see all the cars still in the parking lot. I'm like, hey, this must have been a better celebration than we had in there on the radio show. But listen, I'll be okay with it. You mentioned Jordan right there, and AJ, you mentioned it coming in the same draft class. You guys have been knowing each other for a while.
Yeah.
Just personally, I got to hear Jaden on Chris Long's podcast talk about just how Jordan is the same with everybody in the locker room. Personally, how mature have you seen him grow over the last couple of years? And he seems like he's lived a lot of life over the last number of years, and he's really, really grown into the leader of the football team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really just right along with what everybody else has said and what I've always said. And, I think he's approached every single thing with tremendous poise. The 2-minute drill is a great example. You can, and I know this is a crazy, all over the place analogy, but if you just look at the course of the game that we just had, that's essentially how he's approached everything. We start off all right. There's ups and downs. He's not playing. He's benched. There's the whole drama. Then he's a starter. He had a great year. We're coming back. We lose the first game, and now look at where we're at now. And I think it's one of those things where not too much really sways him and gets him off kilter, and he really approaches everything like a leader. And he's been an awesome job he's done an awesome job at not only being a great leader, but being able to be a friend and being able to help younger players, especially like receivers and we do have a young team, as everybody always likes to point out, to be able to help some of those guys along without just being their friend and not being able to be like, hey, like you got to lock in here. So he does a really good job at, kind of figuring that balance out.
Yeah, Matt said one time, like you got to be one of the guys at that spot. And that is really, really important, being able to, like you said, hold each other accountable, but also know when you got to lift somebody up at that spot.
Yeah, no, I don't know how much time we have, but we did not to get
AJ,
too long with it.
You keep talking, buddy.
Oh,
you just
perfect.
however long you
you
want.
kidding
Man.
me?
Oh, perfect. No. I'm hanging out. Not to go all the way off the thing, but we had a leadership class at OTAs, and we'll just talk about J Love right now. But we did all the things that we thought made a leader as a whole team of whoever wanted to be a part of it. It was like an early morning group. You had to come in early, and you could bring your breakfast. And that was one of the things, obviously, like is you got to be to love and to trust and all that stuff. You got to be able to hold each other accountable. and be able to call each other out. And I feel like a lot of the guys and a lot of the leaders you see in our team were in that group, and they did go to that class early on. And like that's kind of, we want as many leaders as possible. That's why we always have different game captains every week. It's not just 3 guys, 4 guys. Everybody can be a leader. You can be a rookie and be a leader. You know, and you could, somebody who has never played can also call you out when you're not upholding the standard that you set. And I think we do a really, really good job at that on the team. We draft great guys. We have a great culture, but it's not because we have one leader. Our quarterback's the only leader. I think it's because we got 53 leaders out there, and we all want the best for each other.
I love that. And I mean, I think we've heard John Kuhn talk about this on 9 to Noon, but like the best teams are always player-led teams.
Yeah.
Like the idea that, yes, the coach sets the tone and obviously a game plan gets put together, but man, the guys on the field are the ones who do it. And they're doing it week in and week out, play in and play out. And yeah, if you're not upholding a standard, you got to be able to talk to each other, and you got to be able to say, like, you have to pull your weight. You have to learn from those mistakes. And I think the best teams you see in the NFL year in and year out are the teams that are able to do that, or that are able to hold each other accountable.
Absolutely. The coaches and the front office, all those people, they're like the architects. They're the designers. Then the players are the people who build it. So if you got terrible builders and you set a 3-story house and it's leaning sideways and falling forward, even though you had a great blueprint, that's how it goes. But if you got a bunch of guys who are professionals and, you know, are really dotting their I's and crossing their T's, you're going to get a great structure. And so that's my analogy that I think about. Like, you do need those coaches. You do need that front office to get you the blueprint. But to go execute, you know, the blueprint's there, whatever, if it's good. But it's the players who build it up and see where you take it.
Always has been, always will be a game that's about the guys on the field in between the white lines. And you guys are taking it 2 teams right now. There's a bye coming up in a couple of weeks. AJ, how difficult is that though? Like when you got a game against Jacksonville, who their season has not gone the way they had hoped it would, and then a remarkably huge divisional game leading into the bye. How difficult can that be for a younger team though, knowing, hey, we got that at the end of the tunnel, but if we're not locked in for these next 2 weeks, that bye is not going to be something that we're going to enjoy?
Yeah. I feel like the vibes, honestly, no one's really looking at that bye right now. Granted, I'm not playing, so maybe if I was, I would be. But I think we got a pretty well-placed bye. I know we've had some late ones in the past, and we've also been on the other end that had some really early ones. The bye that we have is pretty good. It's kind of right when you need a breather. For the most part, you know, there's always going to be guys who are hurt, but for the most part, I'd say as a team, we're pretty healthy. I'd say if anything, it's like, all right, hey, let's go finish these next, like, give everything we got. We're rolling. We're where we need to be. Just won a big game, big moment. 2 more, take a breather, and then we're halfway through. Let's go ahead and rattle it off and shoot. Let's go ahead and get a first round bye. Go earn yourself another bye.
There you go. That's what we're talking about. I think
winning this division might be getting that first round bye, because it is clearly the best division in the league.
It's a great division. That's fine, but we're number 1.
There you
That's
go.
What I'm talking
there
about.
You go.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh man, this is gonna be fun, Aaron. This is gonna be a fun football season.
Doesn't suck.
Does not suck.
AJ, you're an absolute legend joining us here today and each and every week going forward. Like we said earlier, make sure you check out the information on AJ's Foundation's Gala coming up on the 1st of November. AJ Dillon, an absolute legend, joining us here on Carry the G Radio. Bill Schmid locking it down there at the greater iHeart Metroplex. Aaron Nagler coming to you live from New York City. AJ, thank you so much, man, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yes, thanks, sir. Man. Appreciate you guys. See you next week.